The Ghana National Fire Service is blaming the Ghana Water Company for its inability to get water to fight the Makola market fire on time. At a media briefing, the Chief Fire Officer Edwin Eko Blankson revealed most of the water hydrants within close range to the scene had low pressure or were inaccessible.
The July 5 Makola market fire, just like many others in the past, has again left many questioning the Ghana National Fire Service in discharging its duties. The service has been blamed for looking on helplessly as property worth millions of cedis got burnt. But Chief Fire Officer Edwin Blankson insists that his men did their best, if not for the setback encountered in getting water. According to the CFO, arrangements were made for a backup from the water company, but were disappointed.
Our main weapon is water. If we cannot have any access to water and to ensure the maximum security of the fire responders, we always rely on ECGA to disconnect power outage within that area. We have to call extra pump. Level of them. I must say that I was a bit disappointed, very, very much, because we had arrangement with Ghana Water Company, contractors, to supply us water. Unfortunately, they did not come. And the message I had more from my operation was that officer was that the last time they were giving coupon instead of cash. If because of cash, you never complained at that time and you saw and kept quiet till there's another outbreak of fire, only for you to disappoint the fire service is quite unfortunate.
The Public Relations Officer, Ellis Robinson Oko, has been explaining what goes into their response to an emergency situation.
Fire. When we get there, we have to do some electrical assessments to know what is on fire. If you don't do that and it involves electricity, you die. So, yesterday a similar thing happened over there. When we got there, we realized there was electrical power in the building, and so we had to call electricity company. So when people are accusing us that when we got there at a point in time we were waiting for electricity company to put off to cut off power so that we can do our work, because we can't afford to lose our men. Then if power is cut off, then we can start doing the firefighting. Even that, we have to know some of the things that are burning so that we can know the medium that we will use. We have foam compound, we have water. Considering how the fire was raging yesterday, the next appropriate thing was to protect the adjoining buildings around. Otherwise,
as this explanation and accusation, counter-accusation goes on, the Ghanaian people, those market women, have lost their words to this fire, and they're thinking about the way forward. And market fires certainly is not going to end in this country. Stanley Mante speaks for the Ghana Water Company Limited. He joins me on the telephone. Stanley, good evening to you. You heard the Chief Fire Officer lay some blame at your doorstep, say that they owe some money. There's an arrangement between the two institutions, and they were hoping that you're going to deliver based on that arrangement. You failed them. That's what you're saying.
Yes, perfect. I think he said Ghana Water Company contractors. Okay, I don't know the contractors that he's talking about, because we don't have contractors and we don't deal in tanker service. For us, we supply water through pipelines. So because he's talking about Ghana Water Company contractors, I think you should rather verify. You should go on to find out who he's referring to. For instance, when we were supplying the free water service last year, okay, we rented private tankers, okay, and we paid them to support us because we don't have that fleet. You understand? So with the water company contractors that he's talking about, we may have to find out from him. But I'm glad he said that when the first fire tenders arrived at the scene, they all had water. And also, we were all there. I mean, most of we were there to support them. Okay? There was no single time that the fire tenders that were around were without water. I mean, at any point in time, they all had water. You understand? For me, I counted 9, but he said 11. So at any point in time, they all had water. So it is not about water. They have other challenges. So I think we should concentrate on the other challenges and not water.
Okay. One of the issues you've talked about is
we have accepted our challenge. And we are saying that demand currently far outweighs supply.
Right.
So we cannot have full pressure in all areas all the time. And so the fair service is also aware that this is not going to happen now until I don't know when. But the thing is, if you go to hydrant A and the pressure is low, you go to hydrant B. If you go to hydrant B and it's low, you go to hydrant C. And the thing is, they are aware of the hydrants that they will get very high pressures at any point in time. So there's no problem at all when it comes to water. Okay, and at the time in Makola, it isn't the whole thing wasn't like there wasn't water.
Okay.
But the pressure was not that high for them to
Stanley.
You understand? And we keep doing our best to ensure that some of these things are managed.
Okay, but you make the point. Yeah, if you could hold a bit for me, I just wanted to find out the point. Okay, great.
We don't do tanker service.
Okay, you make the point about the low pressure, which they point to as one of the problems they encountered. Demand outstrips supply, and so there'll be this situation. But I want to find out, in an emergency like this, fire outbreak, what's the standard operating procedure between the fire service and the Ghana Water Company Limited, so that when there's an emergency, you know the processes to follow? What's the SOP?
Yes, Alfred. Okay, so they have their way of putting out fire. Now, for instance, yesterday, we had to get our men to be locking other valves so we could improve on the pressure at the place. But what you have to know, okay, and appreciate is that we can't foresee that there will be fire at any particular point in time. So then we have to push in water to that area before the fire comes up. You understand? We can't foresee that. So what we do is to have an even distribution of water in the system. We are not producing water for firefighting alone. We are producing water for consumption. And what we are doing currently in managing the demand, the water demand now, is to ensure that there's even distribution of little water in the system. And that is why we are doing the water demand management.
Okay.
So if, for instance, yesterday it wasn't the turn of the Makola Central area to have water, and as a result, there was low pressure, you can't blame the GWCL for it, because nobody knew that there was going to be fire outbreak at the time. But during the process, we managed to lock other valves so that we could push water to that area. And that is why at any point in time, including this morning, when they finally put out the fire, there was water available, and they had water in all their tenders at any point in time, Alfred.
Okay, so it's the issue beyond the blame game, really. I think that the Ghanaian people are concerned. Yes, the Ghanaian people are concerned.
He spoke very well. He didn't blame GWCL for it.
Great.
He said they had a contract with Ghana Water Company, water contract.
Absolute.
And I think that who he's talking about. That contract is not between Ghana Water and the fire service. So
clarified.
About GWCL, we are not putting blame on them, and they are also not putting blame on us.
Okay, but in the end, the fundamental issue is about the low pressure. Will this particular incident lead to some audit of the hydrants, at least in these fire-prone areas like the markets? Because, as you said, we don't know when a fire outbreak will happen. So we need to prepare for it.
Alfred, I'm happy you've made mention of audit of fire hydrants, okay? In 2018, we wrote a letter to the fire service that they should do an audit of all fire hydrants in the country, feed the GWCL with that information, and then together with the Ministry of Interior, we'll see how the faulty ones can be repaired. That report hasn't come yet. But at every point in time, we do what is expected of us to ensure that the fire hydrants are functioning. So we do our audit, and then we ensure that they are functioning. But that report has never come to us. You understand? And we don't want to go there. Currently, GWCL cannot be blamed for what happened yesterday, and everybody must get it cleared. There was enough water for them to put out their fire. If they are unable to, then they should look at the other challenges to enable them to, but not the GWCL. And that must.
Stanley, thank you.